All right, so living in New York, hurricanes are our most common emergency. And so while hurricanes might affect the areas that are closer to the coast, the areas that are a little bit outside the coast might experience flooding when a winter storm occurs. So we're going to talk a little bit about flooding today. So right off the bat, what a flood is, it's water on land that is normally dry. And when floods occur, they can last for days, weeks, or even longer, and they can happen almost any time. But here's a few examples of when they might occur. If we get a lot of heavy, sudden rainfall, it could overflow the rivers and streams and cause flooding. Also, if we have a lot of snow and ice that melts quickly, it can also lead to flooding. So with that, people who live in spots that are near these rivers and streams are most likely to experience floods. However, even those in cities, if the drainage systems, which are all connected to the water supply, get overflown, then that could lead to flood conditions in the cities as well. So it's also important to know what flash floods are. And a flash flood is what we call an act fast emergency, because this can happen without almost any warning. Similar kind of thing, it's when we get a lot of sudden heavy rainfall that overflows the rivers and streams, and that could happen miles away and cause a flash flood to occur even downriver. So some ways to be prepared for this is to, of course, listen to what the forecasters are saying. And if there's a flash flood watch, that's when you should gather your emergency supplies and check your flood evacuation routes. Also, if you live in a community that is known to flood or has flooded in the past, move damageable valuables to a safe location. If there's a flood warning, that's when you want to take action. So again, if you live in an area that has flooded before, get to higher ground, especially if officials are telling you to evacuate. But also, avoid floodwaters. If there's a flood in the area, floodwaters that are only 6 inches deep can knock you off your feet, and floodwaters 2 feet deep can sweep a car off the road. Floods can also remove the road and carry tree limbs and debris that can make it really unsafe. So our saying is, turn around, don't drown. So you've got a couple of different activities, the preparedness activities and the take action activities. So we're going to do a little review game to remember those. So when I say a prepare action, you're going to raise one hand. If I say something that's taking action, you're going to raise both hands. So let's do a quick little practice. Listening to the news to find out if there's flooding. Right, that's being prepared. What about heading for higher ground if there is a flood? That's taking action, absolutely. What about move things that could be damaged by a flood? That's preparing, great. Gathering your emergency supplies, including your pillowcase kit. Right, also preparing. Never driving through floodwaters. That's taking action. What about never wading through floodwaters? Good job, taking action. I think you're getting it. Last one, checking on your neighborhood evacuation route. That's being prepared. One more actually. What about turn around, don't drown? That's taking action. Awesome. So, got a little story for you. Katie lives in an area that frequently floods. Every spring they get a flood, Katie and her family. Johanna, her cousin, is coming to visit her over the spring. And she said to Sophia, I've never been in a flood before. I've seen on the news that people get on their roofs during floods. Is that what you're supposed to do? And luckily, Sophia has taken the Pillowcase project, and she was able to tell Joanna all about flood emergency preparedness. And she said to her, we even talked about coping skills. Coping skills are something that you can do before an emergency even occurs to make yourself feel better. And thank you for learning about flood preparedness.